Hello, I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to talk about right to repair and how Tesla may be changing a little bit. But first, we're going to roll that title.
Changing for the better, I hope.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
It's for the better.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we've talked about this before. We talked with our friend Paul Gusick, actually, who runs a independent repair shop. And he talked about some of his frustration when it comes to Tesla and buying parts and installing them on people that come to his shop for their vehicle to be worked on. And it seems with this article from Teslarati, of course, link will be in the description below. And what we're dealing with here is that Tesla's starting to open up a little bit more. They're opening up their electronic parts catalog, the EPC, to the public. So this will allow owners to purchase and install some car parts themselves. The opening of the EPC does come with some caveats, though, and at this point, these go ahead, Casey.
The EPC itself is not new. You've been able to go to epc.tesla.com, but what is new is now you don't have to then copy the part number down from the catalog into a service ticket and then wait for them to open and then try and finagle your way to the front of the line so they can mail you the part rather than waiting till the day before your appointment to see if they've got the parts or the week before. It just gets rid of a lot of the inefficiencies of it all. And so now on some parts, Mark's about to tell us the caveats. On some parts, excluding Cybertruck for now, you can then go into the EPC and you pick your car. And then if it really matters by the VIN number, you can put in the VIN number and you'll be able to order that part directly from the catalog without the fishing around through the system and then hoping you can get to the front of the line or get their attention before waiting on the appointment time.
And some of the caveats are going to be that the parts can't be what they're classifying almost as a dangerous part. They're saying that there are certain things that Tesla does not want the end consumer touching.
High voltage battery.
Connected to the battery and, maybe an inexperienced person frying themselves somehow. That would be bad PR for Tesla. Yeah. But this is something that we can see that they're starting to go down the path that all other automakers have already done. All legacy automakers have typically already done, where they're opening these catalogs up to others. So they're opening it up to repair shops. They're opening it up to consumers, although some do a better job than others. There are still some walled gardens out there. But when we look at it in the North American market, for the legacy cars, the normal run-of-the-mill cars, you can go to any store, Napa, or you can go to Parts Source or Canadian Tire, and you can buy whatever you want for your car. If they're made, typically the end consumer typically can buy them and install themselves. They have the ability to look at different guides. They can look at YouTube videos. They have the ability to do whatever they want when it comes to if they're a handy person and they want to fix it themselves or try to fix it themselves. They're able to do so. And with Tesla, recently, the recent past, that has not always been the case. That there are some, I believe it's Massachusetts has some really strong laws that require Tesla to offer these abilities, but the other states do not have these right to repair legislations in effect. And I, for one, welcome this move by Tesla as they start to open up these books a little bit broader. As Casey has mentioned, it's not completely open, but I seem to believe, based on what we've seen, we are heading in that direction, which I think is good news.
And they have their own little Tesla twist on it, which is fine, simply because they didn't do it the crappy way. They did the good thing when they did it the Tesla way this time. So what they've done for the longest time was, if you were an individual, you could get access to the shop manuals for free. And when I say shop manuals, I don't just mean like the PDFs, excuse me, or whatever. It's literally the interactive service manual that their techs use, and you can go through and any car that's not restricted. So you can't go in and look at the Tesla Semi, for instance, but you can go through, see the Cybertruck, see Model 3, Model S, X, Y, and they have a program for the Roadster, but the Roadster isn't exactly in this. You can just download the old shop manuals for the old Roadster, and so you can surf through those. And now it's free. You just get a login and you deal with it. And what you're paying for at this point, you might still have to pay for the manuals if you're a shop, but it's not ridiculous. What you're paying for, and this is really good prices for a shop, it's a little hefty for an individual. They have just lowered again. They were already on the lower side, but they've just lowered them again. The price for the what they call the Tesla Toolbox, which is the technician software that you can run on your laptop. Usually a Windows laptop, but there are some stuff that will run on the Mac or in the browser. And it wasn't a huge drop, but I think it's like the day pass is now like $75 or $50, and I think it's $75 because a week pass is now $150. And so if you need it for 2 days, you might as well get the whole week. And then the year is quite stout. It's a couple $1,000s, but if you're a shop, it's like next to nothing. And typically, these subscriptions, if they're not free, could run more than that for other manufacturers. But some it's nearly free. And then where they could use the tools. But Tesla uses you just get a simple Ethernet adapter that changes it from like USB or Ethernet to the style of automotive Ethernet port that the car uses, and then you log into the car, log into the laptop, and you've got the full shop tools for the most part. They just had a new mode. They've had service mode for a while. Some of you guys have seen it, but now they have service mode plus, and you get that with the Toolbox software.
So, Patrick, do you see that they're heading in that direction, being more open, or are you seeing that something else?
Yeah, I think Tesla is doing the right thing here. You mentioned Massachusetts. They've had some version of a right to repair law since 2012.
Yes.
And then I was just going through the Wikipedia article on right to repair, and there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. New York enacted a Digital Fair Right to Repair Act in 2022. Colorado had one for farm equipment in 2023. Minnesota had a right to repair that included home appliances in 2023. California has a right to repair act from 2023 that, let's see, Engadget says this is likely to be the model that other states copy. Then Oregon, my home state here, just passed a law that went into effect at the first of the month here and the start of 2025 that is a right to repair. And it also prohibits the practice known as parts pairing, where they can block you from being able to use certain parts. So you might not be able to use third-party parts, even if it's physically compatible or mechanically compatible.
Got two examples right here.
They can block software by having some encryption key. Well, Oregon now makes that illegal. And then Colorado also upped their law, so it's not just farm equipment now. They're covering more consumer electronics and digital equipment.
Yep. So two really good examples of that. Where an accessible one is your iPhone battery or screen. If you tried to order a new screen and you didn't do it their way, they would make it so your fingerprint software didn't work. And so they were a major target with this. But then if you go to cars, Tesla and others did this, where you'd have to buy the part pre-paired to the car. And so if you're buying a new computer, it has to already have the VIN number in there and everything, which that's fine. But then what would happen is if you went to the junkyard and tried to use another one, they would not let that function correctly, even though it was a perfectly functional part. So that part is gone. Or for some reason, like say Paul ordered a screen for somebody, and it turns out, it was just there was a leaf stuck on the connector because a squirrel got in there or whatever. And he keeps the screen because he also has another customer who needed it. So instead of sending it back and restocking and then ordering it again, and he just wanted to put it in there, if they already had it pre-coded and there was no way to change it, that's a mess. And so they were getting around that.
It's funny, Patrick, you mentioned about Colorado and farm equipment. That was a huge thing going on about 2 years ago.
It was.
Where John Deere was blocking people from repairing their own tractors. So you had these farmers in the Midwest that would have a broken whatever
You
and
only have a
knew how to
license
fix
for
it.
that
They even knew how to source the parts. But the problem was is that the system would ask them for a code once they installed that new piece of hardware, and without John Deere making that change electronically, it wouldn't accept the part, even though it was the right part. It just
And it
didn't
wasn't even
have
a part
the
pairing.
same number. Yeah.
It wasn't even a parts pairing. It was just that, oh, you didn't give us the money to open up the computer to accept a new part.
And that is just highway robbery.
is.
That's horrible. That
Right.
people cannot find their own way to fix something that they've purchased already. And that's I applaud Colorado for putting a law in place that other states could look at and employ as well. But
Oh, you want to change your tires?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
You have to buy John Deere tires. You can't buy those other tires. You got to buy our tires.
Oh, you bought the John Deere tires? I don't see you in the computer right here.
Right. Yeah. There's you want to own the things that you've paid for, that you've purchased, that are yours. And some of these practices mean that you really don't own it. You're just licensing it at their discretion, no matter what. And that's just not independence. That's not what America is based on. That's just the wrong way to go. It's corporate greed, and I'm glad that it's being blocked by legislation.
So hopefully, as this article has mentioned, Tesla is heading down that road of more and more openness when it comes to their parts and their catalog and their right to repair. Because we all want further choices. We all want the ability to fix things that we can fix ourselves or we're comfortable in fixing ourselves, and to hire a shop that we trust already and would like them to fix our vehicles because they've been doing it for years. Just because we switched to electric, a lot of these shops have indeed followed along. But if they don't have access to the parts or can't get them for a reasonable rate, then you're really blocking your ability to do what you want with the product that you've already purchased and love. But it's something that certainly is a stickler point, and I'm glad to see that Tesla is at least heading down that direction over multiple years. It's taking longer than I wanted, but we are making progress, and that is a good thing.
And there's another point to consider right now is that Tesla and all the other OEMs, they are backed up. They're having trouble sourcing technicians, paying them what they want, getting them to work how long that they need them to work, that sort of thing. So on top of that, you've got more people buying more cars and more people needing more service. So what ends up happening is your service appointments are ending up weeks and months out, depending on what you need done and how emergent it is. And so you've got your favorite technician and he can't work on the car. And then, you can't go to, Tesla or Audi or whoever and get your stuff handled because you got to wait. So this helps to mitigate that problem. Joe's shop can do what he always did. Now he's got the software to make it happen.
Right. And the original company's still selling parts. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to enable this. And I know that with the traditional model, car companies sell their cars at paper thin margins or sometimes even at a loss, and they make it up in their parts department with 50% margins. But that's not the way that Tesla's been doing things. Their service department makes a small profit. It's not the bulk of their profit. So enable the industry, enable the tinkerers. I've OEVA right here. I mean, these are a lot of folks that are in the club are there because they built their own EV. And it was take an old car, pull out the engine, the drivetrain, the gas tank, and put an electric motor and a controller and batteries, of course, and convert it. So if you're now supplying parts, they can make it into the tinkerer market. A lot of innovation happens there, or just a lot of reuse. Instead of going to the scrapyard, it's able to find a second life in a new form. So we see this sometimes with a crashed vehicle. Someone will take the battery pack out and take the modules and use it for some other completely different project. So do all you can to enable that. And companies fight it. And I just don't understand. They're not seeing the big picture. They're thinking small about, we could get 5% more here if we do it this way. But no, if you enable the industry, if you become the standard that they use for all these and they build on top of it, Yeah, that's where you want to be. You want them using your parts to do cool and new stuff. You might even see something and go, wow, we could put that in our next gen product. So yeah, I'm glad that Tesla's doing this. Innovation.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Well, I
back to
think
the pictures again. You got somebody's MCU screen is leaking goo everywhere, and somebody else just wrecked their car. You go to the junkyard and take it out, put it in your car, and then pair it up again, and then ready to roll.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. Well, I think we'll wrap it there. If what do you think about it? Is Tesla heading in the right direction? Are they not? Are they going fast enough? Let us know in the comments. I'd like to hear your viewpoint as well. And with that, Casey, what do you got for shout-outs this week?
Well, coming up in just 2 days, catch us on the Tesla Life Live right here, same time, same place. Assuming that you're watching this now as it dropped. Otherwise, that'd be 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday.
They're definitely coming back, Casey. They're definitely coming back. Patrick, any shout-outs from you?
Sure. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels.
He's got it all. The longest red line of us all. We thank him. We thank him for that. And we'll see you next time and get together and find out what's happening in the Tesla life. Press subscribe, press that thumbs up, and join us on Twitter. Thanks so much.
X.